Welcome to the WOW Seat Workspace. I am the WOW Empress, AliNICOLE WOW, She Does It All. And I'm also the founder of the WOW Seat Media, and you can learn more about our other featured signature segment production platforms at www.thewowseat.tumblr.com. We welcome you to follow us on Facebook as well. Well, on this platform, I feature the amazing leaderpreneurs, they're thought leaderpreneurs that I have the privilege of mentoring, consulting, and advising as it relates to their worthwhile, outstanding works that I call your WOW works and WOW missions. One of the great things I love about the leaders on this platform is that they really realize the importance of allowing a trusted expert or guide to assist them in the process of the continual leveling up of their WOW missions in order to make a greater impact in their industries. So I really love doing this work and having these types of workspace sessions. Well, in this particular workspace session, I'm working with the Chief Digital Media Communications Authority, Rob Deptford from Robert Deptford Communications. And he is also the creator of the Digital First Business Era, and he teaches the critical media skills that are required for thriving in the digital space. So I am delighted to have him with me today. Rob, thanks so much for being here in the WOW Seat Workspace.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this exercise. We'll see what comes of this.
Oh, of course, yes. Well, we know one thing that will come from this is tremendous value will certainly be added to those who have the opportunity to listen to this, because a great conversation and dialogue always occurs when you and I are together. And workspace sessions like this just give the opportunity to sometimes expand more on particular aspects, because it gives the listeners and those tuning in to get to see a little bit behind the scenes of what goes on with experts as they are continuously developing and expanding, their works. And so this is very, very exciting. And before we actually get started in the workspace session, I would like for you to share why, as a thought leaderpreneur, you believe it's important to have support from a mentor, a coach, or an advisor.
Sure. Well, as you know, I come from coaching a little bit in my background
Yes.
as well, and I actually did some formal training in coaching a while back, and was doing career and leadership types of coaching in the local market here. So, I have a good sense of the value of coaching, I think.
Yes.
But what's challenging about it is, even though I think I'm pretty good at that, it's very difficult to self-coach.
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah.
don't have that outside perspective that somebody else can bring in. So you really do, I think, need somebody else to be able to hold up the mirror so you can sort of get a better understanding of where you're at,
Absolutely.
and have a good thinking partner as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, I know a lot of coaches, and I still work with a few different ones. But the thing I think you bring to the table is, for me, when I think about what my strengths are, if you're familiar with the
Mm-hmm.
Gallup strengths,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
so when I look at my top two, all my top five are all thinking strengths,
Mm-hmm.
and my top two are strategy and ideation. So I'm this kind of person who I'm really good at coming up with vision and
Mm-hmm.
ideas and things that could work well, but I'm terrible at implementing.
Yeah, I can understand that. And that's where the accountability, as you mentioned, from a mentor or so,
Yeah.
coach or consultant, and because you are a coach and consultant as well, and help to expand others, within the digital space and your level of expertise, you clearly know and understand that others certainly need accountability for being able to execute on their goals.
Accountability and some motivation, and positive motivation, which you're very good at.
Oh, thank you.
Every time you deliver feedback, it's very positive, it's very encouraging, yeah, that is what works for me. It may not work for
Oh,
everybody, I guess,
wonderful.
but it
Yeah,
works well for
great.
me. So,
I appreciate you mentioning that. Thank you so much. I do believe that being able to have the positive feedback is important, but also too, I'm very honest and candid as
Yeah.
well, but being able to leverage both sides, because there are positive aspects, and then there are ones that areas that just need the leveling up. So I really do try to keep it in that space to not really look at anything on a negative side, but always just an opportunity as a solution catalyst. That's something I really emphasize, is that I'm really focused more on the solutions than I am focusing on problems. And if I see something, then it just is, that's not an obstacle, that's an opportunity. And how can we now look at what's arising and be able to expand that? So that's what I do, even when I do see something that can certainly be adjusted or tweaked. It's now what's the higher advantage of it. And you always do so well, so I rarely have to even say anything, if ever. It's never been a cracking the whip out, at all. And don't make this a first.
Well, do my best.
All right. Well, thank you, so much. I really appreciate and highly value the answer that you gave. I think it was just exceptional and very spot on. So before we actually jump in, I want to just set the tone for the listening audience that Rob has a primary focus in videopreneurship as his chief vehicle of business expression in the digital space. So when you see his branding and the way he leverages himself, you're primarily going to see him in his videopreneurship aspect, and that is simply where he shines. He's the authority of the media space as it relates to this whole digital landscape that's continuing to emerge and develop. But as I mentioned, the videopreneurship aspect is pretty much his dominant area. That's correct, right, Rob?
You got it. Absolutely.
All right. So, on that note, what we'll start focusing on, and Rob and I have had a discussion about this, is that he's been expanding his digital footprint, which is something he talks a lot about. Um, and obviously is the expert in that level of expansion in the digital space. But he's been leveraging YouTube more. And though he has been leveraging video for a long time, and that's been, again, area of his primary expertise. And I'll actually have him share a little bit about some of the Genesis work that he has done that he still leverages for others who are just getting started in the video space. But he's shifted more over to YouTube and starting to really expand over there. And something that I have been teaching, because Rob has been a part of a mastermind alliance of mine, and one of the primary focuses that we've had recently is on developing different levels of training hubs. And so we've been working on all different components. As I mentioned, there are a lot of different levels. But one of the ones that came up that I mentioned for Rob was, since he is leveraging YouTube and he's, continuing to expand, there are going to be an audience of those who are going to be trying to sync up with the evolution of what he's bringing about, but they'll still be in the basics. But he would not need to really be spending his time in that area because he's continuing to expand and evolve. But because he has videos and he has a playlist of videos from his own development and his own progression on YouTube, I thought it would be very valuable if he would create some type of training platform or training hub and call it Jumpstart Your YouTube Success. And that would be able to facilitate for those who are coming up in YouTube, that they can then see his journey and learn from that. And so we talked about being able to start creating, as I mentioned, some type of platform for that, and maybe developing a few products so that the platform can be monetized. But today we're going to kind of brainstorm a few other components and elements to this, because there's no right or wrong way to really create one of these types of experiences in a training hub. I would say the only wrong way is that you don't do it when there are so many people who need this tremendous value, especially what he brings to the table. So, Rob, what I figured is that the first part of the session, we can focus on the brainstorming aspects, and then we can start maybe the master plan development in the second half. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Okay, awesome. Well, great. So we can kind of start to jump right into this. Would you like me to share just some of the aspects or thoughts that I had given to you, just based on what the training hub could look like, or was there something you want to jump in and talk about before we get into that?
Well, no, I think let's share a little bit, because then that'll give some context,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll jump in and see where it leads. But yeah, let's share a little bit about the background here.
Okay, awesome. So, as I mentioned, that Rob has been expanding and increasing and evolving the aspects of what he does in the digital space, leveraging more with YouTube because of videopreneurship being his primary focus, and because he is on a path of monetizing this channel, but also being able to teach the monetization of the videopreneur aspect, not just as it relates to YouTube, but just in general. But of course, making YouTube kind of the star platform, for this video revenue system is what he calls it, and that is actually the name of his YouTube channel. It's Robert Deptford, and you will see the video. Was it the video revenue system? So you can find him. Yeah, you can find him there. So a few of the ideas or so that I had mentioned to him, because we want to be able to leverage YouTube in a way for the highest advantage for his digital first space, for making an impact and income, and how he teaches this to others. So I'm a huge fan, and also a teacher and trainer for on the platform for Tumblr, and so I do highly recommend it. And so one of the suggestions was that Rob could consider leveraging Tumblr as sort of his rebroadcast center for the training hub, in terms of loading up the old videos and syndicating those videos. And the reason why I'm saying that they're older videos, even though they're really new and fresh, a lot of them still, is because by the time he puts this into place, his expansion is already continuing to progress. Those videos are going to be ones that he can leverage, like I said, for a newer crowd, for those who maybe haven't even synced up to even know anything about his channel at this point. So that's an option that he could rebroadcast on the Tumblr, platform, or he could simply use it as a landing page, a blog landing page, which is something I do for a variety of my blog platforms as well, is that the landing page will maybe have the playlist and some products and entry-level blog post or so that helps to get people started. So that's a form of a training hub. And also I mentioned that he could create a LinkedIn article series, and instead of doing blog posts on Tumblr, he could create a series on LinkedIn, or he also could create a LinkedIn article landing page, which is another aspect that I teach in the LinkedIn preneurship and the LinkedIn article publishing preneurship, is that he could create a training hub module, so that article could actually serve as just as a module. And maybe it has a few of the videos that he has featured in the playlist, and he gives some basic, instructions on, module one has, the first part of this module has these 3 to 5 videos, and they have a core focus. The core objective is, X, Y, and Z. and the best way to, to leverage this, and then give them a call to action. And then within the article, there could also be the section of module 2, and module 2 then could have some other videos that are, group components. And so it kind of just builds. And so that's, a simple way if he did not want to actually create a platform where he's having to, go and pre-schedule, the content or so. So those are just, a few ways. Some recommendations that I also mentioned is that he could have some downloadable offerings, and an 8 to 20 page ebook that could be called Jumpstart Your YouTube Revenue System. Because by the time they would go through the videos and learning more about YouTube and how to get started, then they can start bridging into the monetization aspect. And then he already has a product there, that's ready for them. And also he could create a digital product of that ebook, but in an expanded, version. But ultimately, we would like for this particular training hub to lead into his YouTube channel for subscriptions, so that there can be a continuation of all the other aspects. Rob, something else I want to bring up as well, because I did mention that with the videopreneurship context and all that you're doing and the expansion, is that the genesis of your journey of what you brought to the marketplace initially as it relates to your expertise in video was your getoncamera.com. And, you basically lay out the basics and have a free mini course. And then, of course, you've published the on-camera confidence, handbook. And so those are also components that could be leveraged, within that particular platform as well, or however you do it, the module, LinkedIn articles, or the LinkedIn landing page, LinkedIn article training, module. So those are just a few ideas and thoughts,
Yeah.
as well. So I think that the thing today, before we get into our second half, which we're going to be coming up on that really soon, is you can be thinking just in terms of which direction do I really want to go with this? Do I like the idea of maybe, you could do both, do I like the idea of doing a Tumblr for this where I can just pre-schedule those videos to go out, for the next 6 months, because I've already got them, and it can be a video a week or a video a month, or, so they're just, different aspects. You have options here.
Yeah,
So
no kidding.
he's like, yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, so I think that it'd be good to just kind of think about what direction do you feel you would want to maybe start in.
Yeah, it's a good question, because there are a lot of options, which is good. In terms of expanding or growing our digital footprint, I think it would be nice to be able to do all of them. But at the same time, I know I'm only one person, and there are
Right.
still 24 hours in a day. So
Right. Well, obviously, you don't have to, even if you did choose to do them all, which that's something within the master planning segment, we can, we can start kind of building towards that. You can say, I think I want to leverage all of this, but then we'll put it into a structure of, well, but which one do you want to work on first?
yeah,
And you can have a plan where you're not doing all of this at once. And so it could be that, I'll start with the LinkedIn articles, and then maybe let that lead into Tumblr, or just however. So we get into the second part, we will focus on that. So we're going to take a small break, and during the break, I want you to be thinking about which area you think you want to start in first. So whether you're like, no, I like this all, and I think I want to leverage it all, but we'll jump in here first. So does
sure.
that sound good for you?
Yeah, that works for me.
All right. Well, I look forward when we return to start digging more into the master planning aspect. So We'll be back shortly.